Hi guys, and welcome to RetroB8. In today's episode we are looking at the Hit Squad. In particular we're going to be looking at Hit Squad games on the Commodore 64. I've got 20 amazing games to show you, but in this part 1, we're going to be going from number 20 all the way down to number 11. So guys, join me on this journey to see which games you should be buying for the Commodore 64, starting at number 20. Gryzor, or otherwise known as Contra, was released in 1988 and was published in the UK by Ocean, and the game was made by Konami. The game was remarkably difficult, and if you did manage to complete it, it had a really lame ending. However, if you did put time and effort into it, there's definitely a great game to be had here, guys. I enjoy playing. That was number 20, guys. Absolutely a cracking game. Straight on to number 19. Batman the movie was released in 1989 and was made by Ocean. The game itself was really fun to play. I especially like the driving levels and the bit where you could be the Batwing. As you can see, these levels were really similar, but back when I was a kid it didn't really make any difference. I really enjoyed both of them. The other levels in the game, mostly platforming, but the platform was done really well. The weapons, the firing, enemies were pretty decent, and mainly it did look really good. Personally, I found it quite a tough game, and yet again, this is a game that I've never completed. Absolutely loved Batman as a kid. Definitely one of the few games that I used to have, and I used to play quite a bit, but I just feel like there's a lot of games better than that now. Okay, we move on to number 18. SDI, or Space Defense Initiative, was released in 1988 by Activision. Now, this is a game that not many people have played, but I definitely recommend it, guys. It's really addictive, and I don't like to use the words hidden gem, but it really is a game that should be played more. Originally a Sega game, this game does get very difficult towards the end, and yet again this can be added to the list of games that I've never completed. Have you? SDI, definitely an underrated game. I don't really tend to use the term hidden gem, but that is a game that not many people have played, and it's probably better than what people imagine. Moving on to number 17. Archetype was released in 1988 and was developed by Rainbow Arts. Rainbow Arts is one of my favourite crews, bringing out games such as Terrapin 1 and Terrapin 2. Absolute classics in my opinion. Okay, so it might not be the most original of games, we'll give it that. But you know what it does do? I think it does pretty damn well. It's definitely a game that I enjoy. I'm not a huge shoot 'em up fan, but this one I definitely play. Guys, R-Type, absolutely great version on the Commodore 64. Yeah, really enjoyed it. Hard game, but very enjoyable. Next, number 16. Whizball was released in 1987 by Ocean. It was developed by none other than Sensible Software. I've had my issues with this game. In fact, up until about 6 months ago, I didn't have a clue what I was doing. But you know what? After a few tips from one of my good friends, I've really started to enjoy this game, and it's something I never thought I would ever see. Guys, bit of a cheat here as well. Type Wizball at the screen, at the title screen, and you can choose a number of players. You become invincible. That might help. Definitely helps me. So guys, yeah, Whizball, probably a game that I never really understood how to play till about 6 months ago. But since then, I must admit, I've really enjoyed it. It's been like playing a brand new game. Played it back then, in fact, played it a year ago, didn't have a clue what I was doing, got sick, turned it off. James Evans, he explained it exactly what I have to do. Since then, I've really enjoyed that game, guys. So, we move on to number 15. Guys, Bubble Bobble, released in 1987 by Firebird. I mean, what can you say about this game that hasn't already been said? Personally, I honestly haven't played a bad version of this game yet. This game received 97% in Zap64 in issue 30. Now, you might think that's remarkably high, and you know what, it was, but it was definitely worth it for this one. If you haven't played this game, stop what you're doing right now, go on eBay and buy it. Bubble Bobble, seriously, is there a bad home conversion of that game? Absolutely brilliant. I love it on the Commodore 64. I think it's great on all the 8-bit systems, and I've got it on so many different formats. But I always come back to the Commodore 64 version, guys. Absolutely love it. Okay, number 14. Okay, so now we have Batman the Cape Crusader. This was released in 1988 and was developed by Special FX for Ocean. Now, a lot of people are going to wonder why this Batman is higher placed than the last Batman. Well guys, it's quite simple. Nostalgia. This is the Batman game that I used to play because when I was a kid, I used to watch the original Batman TV show, and this for me was just like it. A great little platformer, some nice little puzzles in this one as well, and it wasn't that hard that an 8-year-old me couldn't complete. Guys, this was the Batman game that I played the most as a kid. I absolutely loved how it's more of like an old-fashioned style, but it's when you're moving between different screens and it looks like a comic book. I just think it's brilliant. Really, really good game. Next we move on, number 13. Here we have The Great Escape. This was released in 1986 and was developed by Denton Designs, released by Ocean. Now the only real downside to this game for me was that there was no sound apart from this. Okay, so not great, right? But guys, do not let this put you off because this game is very, very good. It's a great game. Definitely give it a shot. The Great Escape. Absolutely loved this film when I was a kid. Steve McQueen, what more could you want? It was absolutely brilliant. The game, however, absolutely solid. But I tell you what, if you're willing to put the time and the effort into this one, there's definitely a fantastic strategy game in there for you. Really good. Simple graphics, but absolutely effective. I've never completed this one, but I got close once. That's another story. Guys, we move on to number 12. Smash TV was released in 1991 and was made by Williams Electronics for Ocean. Now, this is quite a late game for the Commodore 64, but I tell you what, I was so happy when this was released. I really enjoyed the arcade version, and I've really enjoyed playing it on systems since. But the Commodore 64 had a faithful conversion, and this was it. Now, I think my love for this game pretty much stems from one of my favourite films, Arnold Schwarzenegger's The Running Man. Okay, so I might be reaching a little bit with that comparison, but when I was playing this, yeah, I was pretending to be Arnold Schwarzenegger. I wonder how he would have felt about winning a 4-slice toaster. Smash TV, oh my god, I have played this game a lot. A lot of people don't rate it. Personally, I absolutely love this game. I think it's an absolute cracker. Yeah, alright, it's better on a Super Nintendo or something like that. But back then we didn't have a Super Nintendo. I had a Commodore 64 and this is the best that we could get. I think they've done a great job with this game and I thoroughly enjoy it. Next, number 11. Powerdrift is a racing game on the Commodore 64, originally by Sega. It was released in 1990 by Activision. Now, bit of a bugbear for me is that the Commodore 64, well, let's be honest, it doesn't have the best racing games. However, in this top 20, Powerdrift makes it in at number 11. As in this style of game, this is probably some of the best work that the Commodore 64 can push out. It's got varied levels and track design and a genuine feel of speed, which seemed to be quite a difficult thing for coders to get out in the Commodore 64 back in the day. The Commodore 64 is not renowned for its racing games, bar Stunt Car Racer, Ivan Man Stewart's Off-Road. They're by far my favourite two racing games. On the Hit Squad, we haven't really got as much choice, and the games that are on there are not really much to write home about. There is one exception, and that was Powerdrift. It's got speed, the levels are very different in between them, you're going up and down bumps. It's for a Commodore 64, it's a cracking racing game, guys. That is part 1 of the top 20 Hit Squad games that you must own for your Commodore 64. I hope you join me next time as we go from number 10 down to number 1. What will number 1 be? It's just so much to choose from. Till next time, guys, goodbye.